Hello, and welcome to this week's Profit Maximizer Moment. Sorry about the late start. Take a couple weeks off and got to retrain to how to start the program. Hope everybody had a great Christmas, New Year's, holidays, whatever you celebrate. Um, I did, except that I did take 2 weeks off, I guess I decided it was fine to go ahead and catch the flu during my downtime. Hopefully, you didn't do that. But we're back. It's 2026. Hard to flip and believe it's 2026. Really crazy. Feels like the years fly by. Um, but it's time. It's time for every business owner to kind of look at their business and rethink it. I am right now. We're planning. We're planning the year. What is it we want to do? What what worked in 2025? What didn't work? What can we improve? What did work? How can we work on expanding that? Taking advantage of what worked. Um, Look, most business owners have one simple goal during every year: to sell more than they did last year. I can usually tell. I want you to rethink that assumption, all right? Because that's something I'm always teaching. And if that's how you measure, you're not alone. Okay, I would say I ask this question on purpose with just about all my business owners when I see them throughout the year. How's the year going? 95% of them are going to say sales went up or up by or sales are down. 5% or less, or maybe a little more, will tell me, "Oh, I'm making a little more money. I'm working harder, making less," something like that. Those are the ones that are watching the right thing, because sales by itself is fine. I mean, look, a business without sales is called a hobby. All right. If you don't sell, you're not going to make the money. I mean, obviously, but selling by itself is a trap if you don't have control of certain things like your cost and your cash flow. Okay. So if you barely kept what you earned in 2025, if in other words, if you sold a bunch and but spent a bunch out, I just looked at an income statement. Hit $1 million in sales, made $25,000, around 26. I mean, wow. Um, my argument would be, man, you could sell, but $1 million, you're making point 0.026%. Truthfully, yeah, 2.6% would be, yeah. Never mind, I did the math right. I mean, you're not even making 1%. Uh, you could go work for somebody, get paid more, and get there. So sales by itself, if like this customer here, we're going to be talking to him. It, Selling more isn't going to help because there's something wrong inside his business. Okay, look, I've had, I can tell you a different example. I had a contractor who went from $500,000 in sales in the part they made about $150,000 to close to 2 million in sales and lost a quarter million. Another one that doubled their sales but ran out of cash very quickly because, yeah, I sell it, but I have to produce it. It doesn't matter, or buy it or something. I have to install it. I have to deliver it. In the meantime, I had to pay rent. I had to pay for the material. I had to pay my people. And I won't get paid for 30, 60, 90 days. That's a quick way to go broke. Okay. So increasing sales, it just doesn't work. Okay. The math doesn't work. You need to pay your expenses before your customers pay. Now, there's multiple ways to get around that. I mean, I've ran into somebody who takes half down before they do any order. They were in manufacturing, never had a cash problem. If somebody didn't pay, at least they got paid for their material and their things. All right. The real problem, truthfully, is revenue doesn't work without having all the stuff you need in place to work with your to get a profit. All right. Sales by itself isn't enough. All right. It doesn't make sense if you don't fix the underlying problems of your business to sell more, to work twice as hard to make minimal. All right. I've had customers like that where truthfully the best thing for them was to actually go work for somebody. I have somebody who just didn't do a good job running a business, went to work for somebody, is happy, doesn't have all the headaches. I can think of two or three people off the top of my head, even a doctor who's, instead of working 80 hours, is now working 40 hours, making more money without all the headaches of running a business. So running a business is not for everybody. But if you are going to run a business, then let's run it profitably. Okay. So a couple things going on. Um, First thing, you need to be able to track some things. I was just talking to the new CPA we hired. His name's Jeremy. He'll be on some of these with us. About business owners not even knowing that they've lost money until um, I do their tax return in August, maybe because they're never on time because their books aren't on time. Okay, how do you run a business? All right, you need to know something. Okay, another thing, SBA has put out statistics on the 25 top reasons businesses fail. Only two or three, I can't remember, two or three, have to do with not being good at what you do. Because, like I tell people, if you suck at your core competency, I can't help you. For example, if you're not good at being a hairstylist, if you're not good at being a dentist, if you're not good at being a plumber, if you're not good at being a CPA, um, I can't teach you that. The CPA part I probably could, but plumber, good luck. I got a deal. I'm not going to touch my plumbing or my electrical or my copier if you promise to show up when you do. Okay. When I call you, I promise not to try to fix it. So, but lucky for most business owners, even if you're good at what you do, or unlucky, I guess is more accurate for most business owners, even if you're good at what you do, that doesn't mean you're going to be successful. All right. Because 23, 22, 23 of the reasons businesses fail have nothing to do with the core competency. They have to do with you don't know how to run a business. Good news is you can learn, and we can help you with that. But let's go first of all, what should be, if you don't have these numbers that you should be looking at. These are numbers that you should be looking at on a weekly basis. I would say every Monday, at least monthly. Okay. What's your cash position? What's actually in the bank? Don't open your app and look what's there because that won't tell you what is on your books if your books are right. Because some people take some time to write checks. Now, it's more accurate than it used to be because more and more there's ACH and people are actually getting direct deposits and they just pay with cash apps and things like that. But still, you should know what your cash position is. Who owes you money? What's your accounts receivable and how long has it been out there? We talk about that. I've done posts on that in the past on both blog posts and video posts as far as what you need to do to make sure you collect receivables. What's your gross margins? What do you make? What do you keep per sale? So, for example, if I sell it for $100 and I buy it for $50, and I have $25 the product that I sold. Let's say I'm in wholesale, retail, manufacturing. Plus, I have to pay my people to manufacture it. Um, what is the amount I get to keep? If I'm in the service industry, what part of it after paying my employees and myself, if you're in the service industry, how are you paying yourself? What amount per sale am I making? That's a vital number for any business. You know, I was talking to somebody today, my nephew, about, he works in the food industry, about how he's working for somebody who doesn't know their cost. And, truthfully, that's a big problem. You need to know your cost of what you're selling. Operating expenses as a percentage of revenue, where's the money going? Okay, but truthfully, you need to control two things because they're going to be the biggest two things in your business: your product cost and your people cost. Those are the two. So work on those first. Get the book I had. I talk about that in there. And what are you getting paid? Not just your paycheck, because, yeah, as a tax person, we're going to tell you keep your paycheck as low as legally allowed because you don't want to pay too much Social Security unless you do, because you're near the retirement, you want to build that up. But also what you take out as a draw. So are you getting paid? These Looking at these numbers on all the time helps you see problems before they start, before you get there. Get with your CPA, give us a call, whatever, and we'll help you set up those numbers. But first, get your books straight. That's one of the things we're doing. So, question one then: what is it your foundation for the coming year? All right, you need to take small shifts. There's a book out there, the 2% growth model, I think it was called. But basically, it talked about how just having a compounded 2% per month increase in bottom line can lead to like 100. I forget the numbers, but it's well over 100% after 18 months. All right, and we can all look for ways to get 2% more profit. cutting expenses by 2%, getting a better control over our product costs, getting better control over our labor costs, increasing sales, increasing margins. There's so many things we can do. All right. So that's what we want to look at. And so I would say quickly in the next week or two, install your weekly review habit of those numbers we talked about. Identify your top 3 profit leaks. All right. We're second week in February. I'm going to be calling my own clients, but keep looking. We're going to mention it here too. We're going to launch a 3-day quick course on the profit reset. Okay, the 90-day profit reset, and we're going to cover the top 4 items that I see that you could really work, that every business I've worked with could improve upon. So if you don't know what your profit leaks are, maybe it's free. That 3 days is, and we'll give you more information on it. And then I'm going to work with some clients, some one-on-one, others in a group environment over the next 13 weeks, helping you customize it to your business so that you can increase your profits. And once you identify those 3, I take the one that's the easiest or the worst. I got 2 different ways to do this. Pick the easiest and fix it. But sometimes the easiest is not the one that's going to have the biggest impact on your business. So sometimes that's the one you want to do. And figure out how to fix it. Get help. I hire a coach. I have 2 that I work with now. All right. Look, this isn't about, and then fix that one, then move to the second, then the third. But if you fix 3 major leaks that are happening to your profits, I guarantee you're going to make more money in 2026 than you did in 2025. And more importantly, work less. All right. The idea, yeah, you're going to put some time in to fix things, but when you're done, you hopefully have the systems in place so you're working less. Okay, look, most successful business owners take the beginning of the year. I start, truthfully, I'll be honest with you, they really start before then, usually in December, but definitely in January, and set a foundation for what they're going to do to, like I said at the beginning, what went right in 25? How do I do more of that? What went wrong in 25? How do I fix that? Okay. You got a clean slate right now. So use it. Don't be afraid to look, we're all learning. I've been doing this for a long, long time. I'm not I'm not young anymore, as you can see. All right. But that doesn't mean you stop learning. As long as you're in business, you can learn. And I can learn off anybody, somebody older, somebody younger. Unfortunately, there's not as many people older than me as they used to be. All right. I want you to remember this. Get rid of the sell more mindset. Fix your problems first so that you're making more on each sale, then sell more so it becomes more profitable. Um, hey, shoot me an email, text me if you have my phone number, call me. Um, you can easily email me if you have any questions or comments. Be sure to join our email list for weekly profit tips, and I think it says WayneBelisle.com, but I think you can just let me check this before I hang up. So if you just go to wjb-cpa.com, WJB, let me make sure it hasn't changed because I wrote down a different thing over here. Yeah. Oh, because I put 2 J's in. I don't know my own initials. How's that? Yeah. So if you just put wjb-cpa.com, it'll bring it to our website. You can sign in there for emails. And you can also see our weekly blogs. If you go to YouTube and search for my name, you'll also find the videos there. There's one that says videos, there's another one that says live events. Most of them are posted there now. They may be fixed. So, I put out a lot of material to help you. Pay attention for the announcement for our free 3-day profit reset course. I don't know what the heck we're calling it. My brain stopped. And then, really a quick way to take our 13-week profit reset course, and definitely worth it. If you can't afford any of that, buy the book. But a lot of times having the ability to talk to somebody and ask questions and hear questions other business owners are asking is very good. Hey, until next time, sorry this one ran long. Until next time, this is Wayne Belisle saying let's make this our most profitable year ever. Profits are not an accident. They're planning, and they're done by making small incremental changes and and having a good strategic plan. And that's what I hope to help people do during our course. Hey, until next time, like I said, God bless. See you at church. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye.